welcome back to my channel. Thanks for stopping by. Today's video, we are going to talk about 4 ways that you can spice up your spelling routine if you're starting to feel like it's a little bit stale or your kids are not excited to open their workbook and do the next page of their spelling activities. Then here's some ways that you can kind of spice it up, make it a little bit more exciting, and practice those word lists. So if you're looking for some fun, let's go ahead and get started. All right, today we are going to be talking about spelling lists and how you can practice spelling with your kids. Just some things that I am doing in our school days to kind of help switch it up a little bit. Now, when it comes to spelling, I like to implement a bit of a loop routine or a loop schedule. If you're unfamiliar with that term, loop scheduling, I've talked about it before in my channel, is where you take a couple of things that you like and you go through them like a loop. So if there's a couple different ways that you like to practice spelling or a couple different ways that you like to implement geography or whatever it is that you're doing, loops can be used in so many different forms. Then you just rotate through them kind of in a pattern. So in regards to spelling, if you have an art craft with spelling and maybe a kinesthetic learning activity with spelling and then a standard spelling lesson and maybe an auditory spelling lesson, then you loop through those based on the days that you are practicing spelling. So I like to do that with my own kids and our spelling methods. So the first tip that I want to give you is, where do you go to find a spelling list? You can go anywhere. The things that I like to create in my shop are good for any spelling list. So if you're doing just a traditional spelling program, maybe you're getting it from a big box curriculum, or even like some teachers pay teachers programs will offer you spelling lists. You could even go to any AI generator of choice and ask, create a spelling program for my 3rd grade student and break it up into 10 weeks and give me 10 words per week or anything like that. Just give a bunch of instructions to your AI generator and it will create a spelling list for you completely free. So there's a lot of places that you can go. Where I go to get my spelling list is just your traditional spelling books. So I have, this year, we're going to be doing Horizons. This is level 1. This is for my youngest. So he's in between 2nd and 3rd grade, but this is the book that I chose for him. And then for my older students, we are doing vocabulary from Wordly Wise. These are far more challenging words when it comes to spelling. So in my kids' spelling activities, I just want them to have as much exposure to seeing the words, writing the words, using the words, saying the words, so that they are familiar to them. Whether or not they spell them perfectly at the end of a week in a spelling test type situation is not important to me. So I'm not necessarily testing my kids on their spelling words as traditional schools would. Instead, I'm just exposing my kids to the words as many times as I can throughout the week that we're doing those words. So Wordly Wise, book 5 is for my 5th grader, and then I have book 8 for my 8th grader. Again, they are more challenging words to write, but through these tips that I'm going to give you, the more that you can expose them to these words, then the more practice they'll have, and they'll be able to recognize them in their vocabulary. And as they grow older, then they'll be able to use them, perhaps in academic writing or anything that they need them for. So that's where I go to get spelling lists. Now, let me give you 4 ways that you can go ahead and implement these fun strategies so that they're not just opening the book. It can get pretty boring, pretty redundant to have the same activities over and over and over again, especially if you have a learner at home that wants to do something a little bit more spicy. So here's a couple of things that I have. The first one is going to be just to get some index cards and have your kids write the word and then write the definition or put the word in a sentence. So these were words that we did when we were doing geography. So I got the word list from geography as opposed to from our word list here. And I had the kids write the word, draw an illustration, and write the definition. So we have, I have a couple of examples here. Cartography, rotation, tropics, and revolution. So these are just things that you can have on hand, get some markers, and then just have the kids write it. It's just something simple and it's different. It has a little bit of craftiness, art in it. My kids love to draw, especially my oldest loves to just have little doodle draws. So that's just kind of a fast way that you can practice your spelling words in a different avenue that's not a workbook. That's number one. All right, number two is more for like a kinesthetic learner. And you can, this is actually a resource that I got from a different curriculum, so I just happened to have it on hand. But you can easily make this just with a, general word processing program. Put 3 boxes, and it's gonna be write, build, or read, build, write is what it is. So on the top, you as the teacher, and I should have brought a pen, or a whiteboard marker, but you can write the word up here for your student to read the word. So you can, again, use any word list, whether it's from the unit study that you're doing or just an academic book like this or something, any word list that you have, and then write the word up here. Then grab yourself a bunch of these magnetic letters. These are the ones that I love. The company is Joynote, classroom magnetic letters. I love them because they're big, they're durable, they're not like, you're not gonna lose them. They're foam, so they're pretty thick, and they're magnetic, so that's fantastic. The vowels are all in red, and the letters are in blue, or the consonants rather. And so on your little thing here, then you can have your kids pick out the letters and build their letter, okay? Did I put that on backwards? I think it goes like this. No, for you it goes like this. Anyway, okay, so in fact, I think the letter is backward. It doesn't look right to me, but anyway, they can build it and then just get a little whiteboard marker and have your student write it at the bottom, okay? So first you write it and you read the word with them, build, write. The only downside to this type of activity is that it is teacher driven. If you want to remove yourself and you have an older student and maybe you're working with the younger kids, then have them just write it, or you can skip this step altogether and just have them have their book next to it or their word list and just have them build, write, build, write, build, write. That way they can kind of do that activity on their own, okay? The third one, now this is my all-time favorite way to do it, and I love it so much that I have it planted in our school week. You already know if you watch a lot of my videos, we have Wordcraft Wednesday. I'm a girl who loves a good alliteration. Wordcraft Wednesday fits because it's WW. And Wordcraft means that we're going to actually craft a project with our words. Now, there's lots of different resources that you can go to do word crafts, but when I first started word crafts a couple of years ago, I was coming up with the ideas using a search engine photo base. So Google Photos or Pinterest photos, and I would just type in a season and then write the word craft afterwards. So maybe Valentine craft or winter craft or snow craft, or if we were reading a particular book, then maybe I would say like a horse craft. Anyway, then I would go through those images that pop up through my search engine and find something that looks like there's a lot of pictures all together that my kids could write the word on their picture, cut it out, and then glue it in some kind of construction paper scene. They were very intensive. My kids loved them, but the prep was a little bit more than I could handle. And so unfortunately, as the year goes on, by February, March, and April, we've completely stopped Wordcraft Wednesday because I just don't have the ability, the creativity, the energy to continue to facilitate it. So I've switched gears, and this year I have preloaded all of my Wordcraft Wednesdays. So every single week I already have the craft ready to go. It's simply print and go. And these are available for you on my Teachers Pay Teachers shop. I'm not the only person that creates these. There are other kind of styles of it, other versions of it that you can look into. But essentially what a Wordcraft is like I said, let me show you an example here. This is one from my March kit, is that you have cutouts. So these are umbrellas that your students will write their words on and then decorate them as needed and then glue them onto a scene. So for this one, I have provided this little rain scene with a bunch of shadow figures walking in the rain. And then your student will decorate, cut out, and write their words on the umbrellas and then glue them on the scene. So it's, again, just another way for them to be exposed to the words, to write the words, to be thinking about the words. And thus, because they're thinking about the words, they're kind of thinking about how they use them, or in the case of wordly wise, they're thinking about what they mean, the definition to those words. So this is kind of an example. Now, when I do it, will pre-cut all of my kids' umbrellas for them. That way they only have them, they just have to pick out an umbrella, write the word, decorate it, and then when they're all decorated, then they glue them on there. It's a little bit more time efficient for them, and I'm an expert cutter, I'd like to say, but I just stack the paper and then cut all of them together. So I have 3 kids, and I'll just cut them all out at the same time, and then I'll put a little plastic, like children's snack bowl. I get mine from IKEA, but you can get them from anywhere. And I put all of their manipulatives inside this little snack bowl so that they can just pull one out and then write on it, do as they need to, and then stick it on their scene. So this is the Wordcraft. And this is way more, functional for me, I guess you could say. It's far more, the chances of my kids actually doing a Wordcraft every single Wednesday has increased exponentially because the whole year is already done. And I have almost all of my months finished. By the time you watch this video, I think I will probably have them all finished September through May. I don't do summer months because I don't teach my kids during the summer months. So I make resources that I use and then I offer them to you. So here's just another example. I had when they do it, the kids will write the word repeated on the arch, glue it all together on the scene. So the scene already has the clouds, the sun, and this little shamrock, pot of gold. So then they have all of that. Okay, here's just another quick example. All of the flowers are the cutouts. The scene has grass and this little birdhouse situation. So then you can decorate your page, put it all together. You can print these pages off on color paper. You can print them on construction paper. You can print these out in color. I actually have a few options on my download where the flowers or the cutout is in color where it's convenient so that then you don't even have to have your kids color it if it's just taking too much time. You don't want your Wordcraft Wednesday to take an hour because we just don't have an hour for spelling, okay? Like, let's be real. But it is kind of a fun way that you can do it. And then in addition to that, kind of like an addendum to that, is I've created in my product just an additional sheet that will highlight that activity. So this goes with the rainbow, and then on the rainbow, I have them write their 3 trickiest words repeated on the rainbow, and then I just have a little writing prompt. All of these extension pages have a little writing prompt. This one is gonna be to divide them up into adjectives, verbs, and nouns, and then again, another little writing prompt. Last one is alphabetical order, and then a little writing prompt. So all of my Wordcraft kits are gonna come with the cutouts and all of it kind of done for you. And then this little like extension recording sheet that you can do on another day or in addition to, just to kind of have that additional practice, especially if you don't want to invest in a traditional workbook. So that's my favorite, number 3. And then last one that I want to give you is kind of like a movement activity where your kids are going to kind of jump around the room on lily pads or like on little hopscotch things. I say lily pads because I am thinking March, but just think of whatever you're in. If you're in October, have little pumpkins and the kids can hop from different pumpkins. Again, you can do this many ways, but you can write the word. You personally, as the teacher, write the word on the pumpkin, and as the kid jumps on the pumpkin, they have to read it. Now they're visually seeing it, they're reading out loud. You can have them verbalize a sentence where they use the word, or you can have them verbalize what the definition of that word is if you're doing definitions, or if you're doing unit study type words, have them verbalize to you as they jump on it what it is. You can have a dice, have them roll the dice, put all of the things, like let's say it's, January, so you put a bunch of snowflakes all in a circle, have them roll the dice and jump the number of dice. 1, 2, 3, 4. What does that snowflake say? What does that word mean? What is it in context? Whatever it is, talk about it, have them verbalize. Then the next student jumps around and see how many you can go around in the circle. So just having them see the word, say the word, and then use the word in a sentence or define the word or discuss what that word is if you're using some kind of unit study words. So it's a very active way. You can very easily have an entire spelling curriculum or spelling study without ever purchasing one traditional book. Now, I do have a traditional book because that's the way that I chose to go to get my spelling lists, especially because I wanted to work on some extended vocabulary. But you don't have to do it this way. If your funds are tight or you're just kind of looking for something different, then you can very easily use anything there's lots of lists on Teachers Pay Teachers. You can just probably Google search lists for your students' grade level. You can use, again, ChatGPT or any AI generator of choice and put a prompt in there to create a spelling list for your entire school year or for 30 weeks of school or whatever it is, 10 words per week. All of that can give you what you need. Then you don't have to invest in a book. And then just create a loop schedule with activities like these 4 that I've mentioned, or others if you have those favorites, put them in, slide them into your schedule so that you can actually have fun practice with your spelling words instead of making it kind of dreary and get your books out and do it again and practice again and put the words in the boxes and now color the words or use Rainbow Write when you write your words. Like all of those traditional repetitive activities can sometimes be dry and boring. So hopefully these tips helped you. These are things that I'm implementing in my school this year. If you have some crafts or activities or ways that you approach spelling that's working really, really well with your students, put them in the comments below so that we can all learn and implement what you're doing. If you'd like to support my channel for free, I love it when you do. Just hit that like button. It's so simple and it's super easy and it's super helpful. So go ahead and hit that like button for me. And then if you are not yet subscribed and you're curious about other tips, tricks, homeschooling, or what we're doing on our side of the mountain, I invite you to subscribe and you can always hear what we're doing on our side of the mountain. So anyway, thanks so much for tuning in and we'll catch you in another video real soon.